Something that's encased in mud or dirt that's preserved. That's actually very spot on. It's the preserved remains of any animal or plant, and sometimes even people. So the one that we probably think of the most are dinosaurs, which I've got right on up here. There are three big types of fossilization. Those are unaltered, altered, and trace. And unaltered is where the animal or plant is the exact same way it was when it died. Altered is going to be it's undergone some change, and trace is going to be it's not the animal itself, but we can tell that something was there. Starting with unaltered. So frozen remains is pretty self-explanatory. We find something frozen in ice, like glaciers, icebergs, things like that. We have mummification, which is when there's a lack of moisture, it kind of turns them into a crust of what they were. And just think of a mummy, right? A mummy is a mummified fossil. And our last one is resin and amber. You guys have seen the Jurassic Park movies. You guys probably recognize that one right there. We do have one on display as well you can go check out. But this is just when something gets stuck in tree sap. That tree sap hardens into amber, and it gets stuck, just like how it was whenever it died. Here we have our altered. These are the ones you're going to think of the most, probably, when you hear of fossils. So first one is carbonization, the residue left behind of a fish, and I actually have one up here. You have replacement. This is when what was left over from an animal is replaced by stone or other minerals. So like all these right up here, these are no longer bone, these would be rock now. We have permineralization, which is where water will carry in certain minerals and all sorts of things like that into the being, and then it hardens into a rock. And our last one is petrification, which is when everything happens at once. That's when we get things like petrified wood. Trace fossils. This is where we're going to get things like footprints. We have found dinosaur poop. That counts as a trace fossil. It tells us that there was a dinosaur there. We're going to find more of those social animals than we are going to find the isolated ones. That's why we have some triceratops on display here that you can touch. Because triceratops are kind of the cattle of the day, so they're all traveling together. So if a mudslide takes one out, well, I can take a lot of them out. That's what we call the fossil bias, where not everything's going to get preserved in the same exact way. Like here in North America, we're not going to find a mammoth frozen in ice. We don't have glaciers here. But in other places like Northern Europe, we might. So a paleontologist is someone who's going to study plants, and animals, and the environment of the natural world. But an archaeologist is someone who's going to study things from humans, cultures, and tools, and civilizations that are left behind. You guys know how you can tell if it's a bone or a rock? You can lick it, and that'll tell you if it's a bone or a rock. So bones are filled with air, they're very porous. Rocks aren't. So if you stick it to your tongue and it sticks to it, you might have found a dinosaur bone. Isn't that really silly?